Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotrasata, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गंगामयी जमुनामयी की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Verse 17. Shri Suka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tam Aha Bahumanayam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam nishreyasarthena tamaha bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa evam Bhagavan Prishta Shatra Kausaravo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa evam Bhagavan Prishta Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Mataji. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Nishreyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa evam Bhagavan Prishta Kshatra Kausharavo Muni Pumsam Shrineyasarthena Tamaha Bahumanayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Sukadev Goswami said, Saha Hi Evam Das Bhagavan, the great sage, Prishta, being requested, Kshatra, by Vidura, Kausharava, Maitreya, Muni, the great sage, Pumsam, for all people, Nishreyasa, for the greatest welfare, Arthena, for that, Tam, unto him, Aha, narrated, Bahu, greatly, Manayan, honoring. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Sukadev Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people. The great sage Maitreya Muni is described here as Bhagavan because he surpassed all ordinary human beings in learning and experience. Thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service for the world is considered authoritative. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord. And as requested by Vidura, the sage described the same very appropriately. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kampadakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our reading of the third canto, the fifth chapter, the discussion between Maitreya Rishi and Mahatma Vidur. So far we heard the questions that Mahatma Vidur posed in front of Maitreya Rishi, and his questions was about that. He said that even though I have heard from Sri Vyasadeva about so many literatures, the Mahabharata and so on, but I want to now today hear exclusively about Sri Krishna, the Lord's Purusha incarnation and other pastimes. So Viduraji is requesting that even though the other Vedic literatures are discussing about multiple things, about karma kanda and about social life along with bhakti, today I want to hear special discussion only about Krishna bhakti. Please tell that to me. And here Prabhupada explains that Maitreya Rishi, his name is Kausharava, he is the son of sage Kusharava. He is referred to as Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan is defined by Sri Parashar Muni as Aishwarasya Samagrasya Virasya Yashasashriya Jnana Vairagayoschaya Sarnam Bhaga Itingana. So these six opulences are in the Lord, in Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in full measure. Aishwarya, Yasha, Shriya, fame in terms of his knowledge, strength, and ultimately without all these things he is renounced. He is completely Vairagya. So he has all these qualities, but he is completely renounced. And similarly, the devotees of the Lord are also sometimes referred to as Bhagavan, or the great Devatas also referred to as Bhagavan, like Bhagavan Narada, or we call as Bhagavan Shiva, Bhagavan Brahma. So in the Bhagavatam, when these great persons are addressed, they are sometimes addressed as Bhagavan because they are not like the ordinary people, and hence it makes sense to address them as Bhagavan. We also know that, however, Lord Krishna is the supreme Bhagavan, who is the source of all these opulences, and hence we worship him as Sri Bhagavan. Now here in the discussion, also it is mentioned that how Maitreya Rishi honored Mahatma Vidur, and this is important because even Vidura is not an ordinary soul. He is a great devotee of the Lord. In his previous life, he is a Mahajan Yamaraj, and because of a curse by Manduka Muni, he is now playing the role of a Dasi Putra or Vidura. And hence, both these persons in this conversation are significant, they are important, they are great devotees of the Lord, and hence this discussion is considered to be significant in terms of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, We understand that when two ordinary people speak, their discussions will be about mundane topics. But when two great devotees speak, this will be about something which is of the highest welfare. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That my devotees, when they come together, they take great delight in discussing my topic. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This discussion makes them fully satisfied as well as gives them great delight. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So that is the nature of discussion between two great souls. A similar verse is also given in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, where Maharaj Nimi is speaking with the Navayogendras and he poses a lot of questions in front of them. One of the questions is, please explain to me how a person can cross over the illusory energy of the Lord. To that question, the Navayogendras respond that Parasparanu kathanam pavanam bhagavat yasha mithoratir mithotushtir nivritir mitha atmanah. They explain that the best way to cross over this Maya, the Lord's illusory energy, is to paraspara. Again, the word paraspara is used. Paraspara means coming together in the Sangha of devotees. And what do we do in that Sangha? Pavanam Bhagavata Yasha. Glorify the Lord, Supreme Lord, who is completely pure, Pavanam. And what is the outcome of that? Mitho Ratir Mitho Tushti. Mutually we get satisfaction, mutually we get pleasure. And this way, Nivritir Mitha Atmana. All together, as a group, we can all cross over this illusory energy. So this method of Paraspara Bhagavad Katha is kind of a bona fide method of crossing over the Lord's energy of Maya. In this verse again, the word is mentioned as Nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means the highest welfare. For whom? For everyone involved. Shreyas and Preyas, these two words are given in the Bhagavatam. Shreyas means something which is for the ultimate welfare. And in contrast, the word Preyas means something of immediate benefit. So Prabhupada explains how do we use these two words. So for example, Preyas means how do I get something right now? So how can I get some quick benefits? So Prabhupada gives the example of, let's say children are playing, they don't want to study. So studying is for their ultimate benefit, so that they can be good children. Whereas, but their mind is about playing. So when they play, they get quick benefit, immediate benefit. So that's Preyas. Whereas if they can resist the temptation of playing and they can focus on their on sadhyaya, on studies, then they get the full benefit, the long-term benefit. So Preyas is immediate benefit and Shreyas is long-term benefit or long-term ultimate benefit for all. So whenever we do activities in this world, we will always be having these two choices. Are we doing something for Preyas, for immediate benefit, or something for the ultimate kind of an ultimate impact that we can have to our life? So we should understand that Shreyas is the long-term benefit, even though Preyas may be tempting. Sense gratification is coming in the category of Preyas, and the spiritual path comes in the category of Shreyas. Also, there is similar discussion between Sutta Goswami. He says that Apavarga and Pavarga. That how this dharma sehi apavargasya nartho arthaya apukalpate. Which means that dharma must be, all occupation must be done for ultimate benefit. Apavarga. The word pavarga and apavarga are also similar to Preyas and Shreyas. Pavarga is a grammatical kind of connotation of these letters called, the Sanskrit language is using the Devanagari script. So the letters like all the consonants, ka, kha, ga, gha, and so on. So the Pavarga refers to pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. Pa is for parishram, hard labor. Fa is for fena, or foaming at the mouth. Bha is for, we use vyarthata or frustration. Bha is bhaya or fear. And ultimately, ma is mrityu. So this pavarga discussion refers to these activities which are starting with parishram, prerna, vyarthata, bhaya and mrityu. In contrast, apavarga is something again which is not which is not these activities, but activities for the highest welfare. So dharma should be, all occupation must be done for apavarga. So same discussions we understand that how the Bhagavatam repeatedly explains that don't get into prayers, engage in shreyas, don't do pavarga activities, but engage in apavarga activities. In the 12th canto, Sutta Goswami explains that how the Srimad Bhagavatam, how Krishna Katha, this discussion between the devotees is the highest welfare as given here. There's a nice verse which describes Avismriti Krishna Padaravindayo Kshinoti Abhadrani Chasham Tanoti Sattvasya Suddhim Paramatma Bhaktim Jnanam Cha Vijnana Viraga Yuktam. That these Krishna Bhakti, Avismriti Krishna Padaravindayo, whenever we remember Krishna's lotus feet, what are the outcomes? There are 7 benefits explained here, part of the welfare. What are the 7 welfare points? Number 1, Kshinoti Abhadrani. All inauspiciousness is driven away. And Sham Tanoti. It magnifies our good fortune. So it removes inauspiciousness, Kshinoti Abhadrani, and Sham Tanoti. It multiplies your good fortune. Now who doesn't want that? We all want that, right? How can we reduce bad luck and increase good luck? So Krishna Bhakti gives that. In fact, we see how Dhruva Maharaj, even though he had a greed for the highest kingdom, he wanted a kingdom which is even higher than, greater than his great grandfather Lord Brahma. So if you see if you analyze it, you'll find that he had a much higher greed. But just because he surrendered to Krishna, he did it in the form of bhakti, he actually got the highest welfare. On the other hand, we see Dhritarashtra. His greed was for a small kingdom of this world, just Hastinapur he wanted. But because he was against the path of Bhagavad Dharma, the result was he met with destruction. In fact, Mahatma Vidur tries to explain to Dhritarashtra that what you are doing is not the right thing. You are going against the principles of dharma, and you are doing adharma acharan. So his response was, Vidur, whatever happens is predestined. So how can I stop it? So Vidura explained, so far what has happened is maybe predestined. But what you are doing now, your actions now, will determine your destiny. So please act correctly. But he did not understand, because he was weak in his heart and he did not have a complete faith in Krishna. Even though he was given good advice, he just put it on destiny, that whatever happens will happen with destiny. And the result was very inauspicious. So we see how for Dhruva Maharaj, he was insulted by his stepmother, so that inauspiciousness was removed and he got the highest kingdom, the Dhruva Loka. So his fortune was multiplied. We see Dhritarashtra, how he had so much wealth with him, but because of not following the path of bhakti, not dharma, he actually went into misfortune. His whole family was destroyed. So Krishna consciousness, or the path of bhakti, it removes inauspiciousness and increases multiplies our good fortune. So these are two benefits, first two benefits. The third benefit is Sattvasya Shuddhim, means our existence is purified. So how does that happen? Again, the Bhagavatam explains how through Krishna Katha our heart gets purified. Shranamataha Shraddhaya Nityam Grinastascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. So here it is explained that how Shranamataha Shraddhaya Nityam. By faith, in faith to Shraddha, if we hear regularly Nityam, what is the outcome? Grinantascha Swa Cheshtitam. So there are three things mentioned here. One is hearing with faith. Second is Grinatam. Grinatas means to accept it. When we hear something, we should use our intelligence. We can discriminate and finally accept. I remember in my initial days, when I was new to the path of Krishna consciousness, I used to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So I used to make a list of things. This is the list which I agree, and this is the second list which I am not sure. Maybe it's true, but I don't have enough experience to say it is false or not. And with gradual hearing, with gradual reading, the list of acceptance increased, and the list of doubts or questions, became small and small, and it changed. The whole thing shifted from one column to the next column. Similarly, when we hear Krishna Katha, we should accept with our intelligence, with our faith, and with our own experience. So after hearing with Shraddha and accepting, the third thing is Swa Cheshtitam. Swa Cheshta means one's own endeavor. You must actually implement in our life. Unless we implement it, it will not give us the right results. So we have to give our effort. We understand that how in the path of bhakti, our progress is determined by two things. One is our endeavor, and second is Krishna's mercy. But we have to do our part. When we used to give, again going back to college days or school days, when we give exams, so we will give a test paper, and then we will get the results. So let's say out of 100, the pass marks are 50. Now some people will do good, okay, they will get good marks, 70, 80 and so on. But if someone gets only 40 marks out of 100 and the pass mark is 50, then the teacher give a grace mark. Okay, you tried hard, came up to 40, let me give you 10 marks grace and make you pass. Just cross the hurdle line, the pass line. But if suppose that he did nothing, he just wrote zero, nothing, the full paper is blank, will you get anything? There won't be any grace marks. So just like a student gets grace marks by putting his part, even though he may not be very smart, very expert, he said, okay, in this exam, in this question paper, out of the so many questions, I could attempt only 40. But the examiner, because he or she is satisfied with the student's sincerity, says, okay, since you at least tried 40, I will give you 10 marks grace and I will make you pass. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, we may not be having all the qualities that are divine. But whatever we understand, whatever we hear, if we put them into practice and give our best, then Krishna or Radharani, they give us the grace marks. So all of us need that grace to cross over. So we may be trying our best and we may not be up to the mark. But because of the grace, we will be lifted and we can cross over that hurdle line and cross over Maya. So in addition to hearing and accepting, we have to practice. And even though we may not practice completely, we may have our deficiencies, our limitations, we will know that by sincerity and by seriousness, we can attract Krishna's grace and we can cross over our hurdles. Further, what happens with this? Kalena na ati dirghena. Very quickly, in a small time, Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. The Lord enters our heart. And what happens after that? It says that, the next verse says, Pravishta karna randhrena swanam bhava saroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yatha sharat. So Krishna, Pravishta karna randhrena. The Lord's holy names, his katha, Pravishta karna randhrena, means it enters through our ears. Karna randhra means our ears. It enters our heart, and within our heart, what happens? Dhunoti shamalam Krishna. Krishna actually personally removes all the anarthas, all shamalam. Dhunoti means removes completely. So Krishna actually personally removes all these things. We just have to allow Krishna to enter through our ears. So, with this simple process of allowing Krishna's glories, Krishna's holy name, Krishna's pastimes into our heart through our ears, the effect is Krishna personally actually removes our anarthas. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna. How? What is the analogy given? Shalilasya yatha sharat. Just like in the autumn season, when the autumnal rains come, sharat. Shalilasya means like pools of muddy water, they get cleaned. To make it graphical, suppose you have a cup of dirty water, you keep it under the tap, open the tap, suddenly the whole dirty water goes out and the good water comes in. Similarly, when Krishna's glories comes into heart, all the mud inside the heart actually is completely removed, completely cleansed. In fact, Sripad Aindraprabhu Prabhu used to say that this is the lazy, intelligent way of progress. Just hear. Don't have to do any hard work. Just by hearing, it's a very intelligently lazy way of making spiritual advancement by regular hearing of Krishna Katha. Prabhupada used to say that our anarthas are like bed bugs, which means if you experience a bed bugs, in India we have a lot of experience as we grew up. You will not see, we try to clean the whole house of bed bugs, so everything is clean, looks like great. Sleep in the night, the lights go off, suddenly you find something is pricking you. And you say everything was nice, I had cleaned up the whole house, whole room. Suddenly what happened? Nothing was seen. And then you switch on the light, again nothing is there. Then switch off, again you find a bed bugs pricking you. So similarly, our anarthas are there. Even though we take so much effort to clean them. And actually we sometimes think we are great. Yes, I am doing great. But when there is a test, when there is a kind of opportunity, when we are put in some problem, whether it is a difficulty, whether it is a temptation, whether it is some situation, then actually our testing happens and we get a sense of, oh, I thought I was there, but actually I am here. And then we work in that direction. And so similarly, like bed bugs, we know that even though sometimes we may not see our anarthas, but with situations which Krishna arranges in our life to give us a right understanding of where we are, and it helps us get a good estimation of our progress, that makes us more serious in devotional life, and we take Krishna Katha more seriously, and we continue our process of Pravishta Karnarandhrena and Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna. This process continues, anartha nivritti. The last three benefits given in this specific verse from Bhagavatam is about Jnanam cha Vijnana and Viraga. So three different things: Jnana, Vijnana and Vairagya. Again, the Bhagavatam explains that how Bhakti is the mother and Jnana and Vairagya, knowledge and detachment or renunciation, are two offsprings, two children of Bhakti. So the fourth benefit was Paramam Bhakti. So when we get Bhakti established in our heart, then these three things, Jnana, Vijnana and Vairagya, also follow automatically. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. So we find that how when Bhakti Yoga is established in our heart, Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Brahma Darshanam, that how Bhakti Yoga can lead to these three outputs, Jnana, Vijnana and Vairagya. When Dhruva Maharaj had the darshan of Lord Vishnu, he says, "Oh my Lord, I am a mere boy. I don't even know any actually, Lord Vishnu says, please glorify." He says, "I am a mere boy. I don't even know the proper rules of Sanskrit grammar. How can I glorify you?" Then Lord Vishnu actually touches him with his shankha and he starts speaking great poetry, very nice poetry. So this jnana is suddenly kind of arises in his heart through bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj, when he was brought in front of the Lord after Hiranyakashipu was killed, all the demigods offered prayers. Lord Narasimha was not pacified, and they tell him, "You please offer prayers. Maybe he will be pacified by your prayers." And then he says that, very humbly he says that, "Oh my Lord, I am a mere boy, 5-year-old boy, plus I am born in a demon family. what qualification I have to pray? Even though these demigods, these devatas, are doing stuti pravaha, they are having rivers of your glorification. I am just a mere boy. But again, because there was bhakti in his heart, he offered very eloquent prayers to Lord Narasimhadev and actually pacified him. So, jnana is an automatic outcome of bhakti. And what is the nature of this jnana? This jnana doesn't make you proud. Actually, it makes you humble. Vidya vinaya samparne. So this vidya actually brings in vinaya. Vinaya means humility. So this is the test of knowledge coming out of bhakti. That vidya vinaya samparne. It makes one person vinaya. And when we practice, we also get realization. So jnana and vijnana. And ultimately we get detachment from everything which is material and get attached to things related to Krishna. Just like a fruit in a tree, it becomes ripe and becomes ripe and ripe with time, it automatically falls down because of its heavy weight. Similarly, by practice of bhakti and we cultivate jnana and vairagya, we become heavy with this bhakti process, and just like the fruit falls down from the tree automatically, detachment also comes naturally. There are so many examples of great personalities who were kings and opulences they had, but because of Bhagavad Bhakti, they were able to get detached from material attachments and able to utilize everything for the service of Krishna. And that is the highest welfare for all people. Shreyas, and here specifically Nishreyas, means specifically the greatest welfare for everyone. So in summary, we discussed about how Mahatma Vidur and Maitreya Rishi met, and this discussion between them, Parasparanu Kathanam, this their mutual discussion, how this discussion is the highest welfare for everyone in this world, and how they discussed Bhagavad Bhakti. And we understand from the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, we discuss the 7 benefits of Bhakti and how this can be beneficial to everyone involved. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any comments? Yes, Prabhuji. Microphone.
Regarding Shreyas and Preyas, what if someone accepts something that can give Shreyas out of some motive that is more Preyas?
Thank you. So the question is, someone accepts something which is ultimately for Shreyas, but there is some immediate benefit involved.
Like for example, if suddenly I feel hungry and I just want to satisfy my hunger, and I see, somebody left a puri and some sabji. It's something prasadam can give the ultimate benefit,
Right.
but I may accept it out of not some desire to achieve that, but just because I'm hungry. Do I get the benefit or not?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, of course, if the intention is ultimate Shreyas, the benefit will always be there. Because Krishna is Bhavagrahi. He knows our heart. He knows that when we are doing something, it is in our mind, in our hearts, there is a desire to satisfy or do things which is for the benefit of a higher nature. So we get the benefit, and over a period of time we may be able to overcome or get over the tendency of prayers. But in this example, of course, having prasadam there is Shreyas and Shreyas. There is no other question, because having prasadam they say that an example given as how one time Mahaprabhu, he gave prasad to Jagannath Prasad to Sarvam Bhattacharya, and he had not even brushed his teeth. He just got up and he immediately took prasad. So honoring prasad at any moment, at any point of time, with any motive, is shreyas. So now, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Anybody else wants to add? Yes, yes.
Thank you for a very nice class. Another example would be like those thieves who heard about Krishna being dressed with so many valuable jewels, so they wanted to find him. Their idea was prayas. They wanted to find him, take his jewels, and enjoy. But because Krishna was the object, it became shreyas.
Yes, yeah.
So Prabhupada made that point, and it's also made in the Bhagavatam that put Krishna in the center of everything. Even if your motive is not pure in the beginning, which it isn't, we're all coming out of impure consciousness, but because Krishna is the object, Krishna is in the center, then you will lose the attachment to prayas, and you'll become attached to Krishna, which is ultimately shreyas.
Right, Haribol, thank you. Yeah, the Bhagavatam says to confirm this point, to add more. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradhi. Tivrana bhakti yogena yajitam purusham param. So whether you have any desire, whatever desires you have, or no desires, or full of material desires, but come to Krishna, the ultimate benefit will naturally come with time. Thank you. Yes. Microphone.
Thank you for the class. The question is, can you explain further on the sincerity and doing our best in Bhakti Yoga?
Grace. Yeah, how do we get the grace? So, in the process of bhakti, actually the word sincerity can be used, it can be applied in any part of life. Are you sincere in whatever you are doing? Or do you have any ultimate motive, ulterior motive, besides the intended purpose of that process? So sincerity in bhakti, of course, there are so many aspects of sincerity, but specifically we can discuss that in bhakti, when we engage in the process of the sadhana bhakti, sincerity means even though there is temptation, there is distraction or calamities, we do not give up our practice. And we stay true to the purpose, stay to our actions. So that is one test of sincerity. That when there is an opportunity of temptation, allurements or distractions, will you be deviated or will you continue? For example, we see how Haridas Thakur, he had to go through so much in tests. Maya Devi herself tested him, and there was a prostitute, which he had to go through some plot of by other people like Ramchandra Khan. But he was consistently, he proved that what I am doing, bhakti, is my real goal. I will say no to anything else. So whether it is an allurement by Maya Devi or allurement by this prostitute, he was sincere and he did not deviate from his path. So that's one example, that when you are given these other distractions, you stay on course or you get deviated. So that's one test of sincerity. Okay, thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
This is almost related to, it's a comment that I have from your class. When you mentioned about, I like the analogy that you make about the student, that he might not be able to pass the test, but because of his endeavor, the teacher will, isn't it? So then that brought me to the mind of Srila Prabhupada's one time giving class that we hear many times. He was giving class, and in his class he said, to go back to God here, you have to 100% pure. And then immediately, that he looked at all the crowd, he's like, and then he says, 80%. And they were still like, and then Srila Prabhupada said, he put his chart out like that, they say, 70%. So you see, the explanation that he gave, and the question that you asked, if you just keep sincerely endeavoring in this, you please the guru, you please the spiritual master, and everything is resolved. And that's for all of us. Because also I came with so many statements in the scriptures. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I've seen many people sometimes practice and they left and they look sincere, but we question, did Prabhupada was actually pleased, or the guru was pleased, or your authorities were pleased? So you just put all that together in the question, the answers that he gave, and you please Srila Prabhupada. That's it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्री प्रभुपाद की,